Today, we're packing up and getting ready to leave Nicaragua. It's been a good past few months living in Nicaragua, and we have really gotten the swing of life here. It's a lot slower and way different than when we lived in the States. This time, our travels are taking us back to California for a short period of time. I honestly don't want to travel out of Nicaragua because of all the work we have left in this country. Plus, we like living here. But in this occasion, it's for something special. We moved to Nicaragua to pursue the dream of rebuilding the family coffee farm, to keep the legacy alive. We have been working on the dream and we have been making good progress. The channel has been growing and the farm has been expanding. But during our time here, we have realized something very important. Guys, we're just finished setting up here. So everyone's gonna be sitting here during this live event and I'm gonna be presenting my story. Right here is the coffee you guys have been watching me build throughout this YouTube channel. It's been like 2 years, but finally I have my own website where I can sell it. This is a special moment for us, but let's try it. Before I take a sip of that coffee, let's pause for a second. We need to travel back in time and I need to fill you in on how I got to this point in my life, how I ended up starting a coffee business in Nicaragua and releasing our very own coffee brand. Now, in order to bring you up to speed and for the story to make sense, I need to take you back to a specific point in my life, a specific time. In 2021, I made a post on Instagram and it read, "Yesterday, I quit my job. After 11 years of building a career, I am officially unemployed and I feel at peace. It is now time to go chase my dreams." And in this post, I wrote down 2 dreams. One of the dreams was to cycle from California to Nicaragua. I know, crazy, right? How was I gonna make this possible? I have never cycled long distance before, and this was gonna be the first time ever doing this. And it's a crazy story, let me tell you. Dream number 2 on there, build the coffee farm for the people. Another dream that seemed like such a big mountain to climb because I was coming from the US with 0 farming experience and I was moving to a new country and I was gonna become a coffee farmer and make it successful. It sounds like a scary nightmare, or it can also sound like the biggest adventure of your life. You see, I spent 11 years of my life building a career. I started from the bottom, and towards the last 3 years of my career, even though I had everything, I had money, I had a good team, I had a house, I began to feel this sense of unfulfillment. Like it wasn't for me no more. I felt unhappy, and I really began to question what I was doing with my life. It was around that time that my father, who was living in Nicaragua, started to get sick. He started to battle through medical complications, and we went through a period in our lives where it was very difficult. And unfortunately, through some complications, he didn't make it, and he ended up passing away at the young age of 49. Such a hard time in my life because losing a parent is incredibly difficult, or any loved one, as a matter of fact. After my dad died, I would travel to Nicaragua to visit my grandma. Now, my grandma was still alive, although she was older, and she was very coherent during her time. She used to tell me about a project that my dad was working on, which was to rebuild the family coffee farm. And now that my father had passed, it was now to her to continue that legacy. Although she had so much passion for what she was telling me, you could see she was a little bit sad because she was now older. She was 86 in a wheelchair. She couldn't go to the farm. So in one of my trips, seeing how much this meant for my grandma, I made a promise to her that, "Don't worry, Grandma, when you pass, we're gonna take that over and we're gonna rebuild the farm." Within 3 years time span, my father passed away. A year later, after telling my grandma that, she passed away, and a year later, my grandpa passed away. So I lost 3 loved ones within that short period of time, which really impacted my life. Now, you could imagine that going back to work now was never the same. I would go back to work, be behind a keyboard, and all I could think about was planting coffee and being in Nicaragua. I feel like life at times will give you a call to adventure. Now, you can choose to answer this call or you can choose to ignore the call. And we chose to answer the call. After some time, we sold everything we owned and we decided to chase our dreams. Amazing. I mean, it's spectacular to think about what this coffee is impacting here, all the way from Nicaragua to Proyecto Diaz to now. Dream number 1, biking from California to Nicaragua. That dream seemed crazy. Imagine that, getting on your bike and pedaling more than 3,500 miles, more than 140,000 feet of elevation gain, not knowing where you're gonna sleep and what you're gonna eat. Either way, with all those scary thoughts, I was gonna chase that dream and make it happen. So on June 16th, I opened the front door to my house in California and I got on my bike and I started to pedal to Nicaragua.
Man, I am beat today. It's Tuesday. I'm in Pismo Beach right now, and what a long day. What a long day, people. It's just been grinding after grinding. I must have did somewhat like 50 miles. I can't even fully remember.
Every day I would wake up and repeat, pedal a certain amount of miles. I would find some food and a place to sleep. At times I couldn't find a place to sleep, so I'd have to sleep on the side of the freeways, in the bushes, or maybe behind restaurants if people allowed me. I spent 5 months on the road. It was incredibly difficult. It was physically exhausting, but mentally it was the hardest thing I've ever done. At times it felt like I was never gonna make it to Nicaragua, but I began to realize that if every morning you wake up and you pedal towards something you want, you will eventually get there.
Do you guys smell that? It smells like Guatemala. Guatemala is just 60 miles that way, 100 kilometers away. After 4 months in Mexico, I am going to cross that border today. I am so excited, but nervous because it's a freaking pandemic. It's 2021 October, and we'll see what they tell me when I go try to cross that border. They're probably gonna ask me to take a test. Who knows? Trying to steal my bike, JK. Hopefully not. That's like a cyclist's worst nightmare. But anyways, we're gonna make it across that border.
After 5 months on the road, I officially made it to the border of Nicaragua, where we had a caravan of people waiting for us to receive us into the country. Now this is the grandma from my mom's side, just to avoid any confusion. It was actually Thanksgiving that day, and we ate and then went to sleep for 2 weeks, but the first dream was accomplished, and now we're ready to move on to dream number 2. All right, the van's getting started. Here with Benjamin.
How you guys doing?
First person from the channel to show up. Trying the coffee there. All right, guys, we're officially ready. We have the monitor ready, the chairs, the coffee, the pastries. We're just waiting for the people to arrive. Really exciting time. Definitely feeling super blessed here to have an awesome team in Nicaragua and also here in the Bay to work with, and you guys who support and fuel this dream. Welcome to dream number 2. Let me tell you that you are watching this dream unfold in front of your eyes, because we're still working on it and it's very, very early. But before I begin into the journey of how are things doing in Nicaragua with the farm, and now that we're launching our own coffee brand, I want to fill you in too how that's going to happen and why we're doing it. Let me show you something real quick. Here we have 2 types of coffee. At the end is still coffee, but coffee in different stages. On the left side, we have what most people don't know much about, which is green coffee. So this coffee gets exported out of Nicaragua, over 2 million pounds a year. Now on the right side, we have roasted coffee. Everyone loves the roasted bean. Millions of people drink it every morning. There's a lot more knowledge and education to the end consumer on this side of things. So we're gonna start with the green coffee so I can tell you about the farm and we can be on the same page. Now, when I first started coffee farming, I moved to California with 0 experience. So the first year was a struggle. I made a bunch of mistakes. And honestly, I never made that mental shift to go from being in California, drinking IPAs in the weekend and just relaxing, to now putting myself in the shoes of the farmer. And when I put myself in the shoes of a farmer, all I could see was problems. It took me a while to make that shift. And all those problems were like labor shortages, the newer generation doesn't want to farm coffee, prices in coffee suck, people don't want to pay good, decent money for coffee, so it leaves a lot of farmers in poverty. Also shortages in materials, just to name a few of the problems that we're facing. But I did not lose hope, because I noticed that traveling around Nicaragua, there's farms that are successful. These farms has been working for years, and every year they manage to thrive and invest in their farm and take care of their family. And one of the biggest difference that I noticed on those farms versus the ones that weren't successful was that those farms actually managed to find partners to work with. So they didn't just sell green coffee. They actually built a relationship with the buyer that came into their country of origin, paid them fair prices, and worked with them for multiple years to continue to grow. So overall, it was a positive relationship because you had the farmer and you had the buyer who benefit both from that relationship. So with that glimmer of hope, I know that there is a way to make this successful, but in order to do that, you have to find good people to buy your coffee. Now, as an end consumer, as someone like you who drinks coffee, you can actually make an impact, because if you choose to drink coffee from a brand that you know is going back to origin and working with the farmer, paying good prices, and they have a good mission statement and a good vision, then you're directly impacting that. For example, like my friends at Proyecto Diaz, or one of the inspirations of Mayorga Coffee, who's built a beautiful coffee company there, doing good in the community and helping the farmer. So with that glimmer of hope, we continue to advance with the farm. We're planting more coffee, we're rebuilding the facilities for the people that work there, and we're really at ground zero at the beginning stages, but we continue to learn. So that is the green side of things, and that is how it's going. But let me tell you the roasted side of things. From the experience that I had living in Nicaragua, something impactful really hit me. I used to go to these events while I was there, and I used to hear all these coffee farmers and producers speak. They would talk about quality, how can we improve quality, how can we get better prices, what kind of challenges, what kind of struggles do we have this year. And I really saw this beautiful scene of people just caring so much to deliver the best coffee they can to you guys. But at the same time, I couldn't help but get this feeling that we were in an island in Castaway, where all these hard efforts and all this planning and everything to get that delicious coffee to your home was never seen or recognized. Really, it felt like we were disconnected from the whole world. So in my mind, I said, how can I step in here and just try to help as best as I can? So this is when I started creating videos on YouTube. I realized that the best way to do this is to kind of show what goes on behind the scenes. So I document my life on YouTube, going through my struggles and trying to start the farm. But most importantly, I document my friends' life also. I visit their farms, I visit other businesses, and I show just Nicaragua in general, in hopes to kind of show you behind the scenes and bring you guys in a little bit closer at the farm level. And now with this channel and that idea, it started growing and it started getting momentum, and people started asking for my coffee. And that's when it clicked to me. If I can have you guys watch these videos and grow a community online, why not start a coffee brand that we can eventually use to bring other producers into the loop and have them sell coffee through there too? So the first step was that. Start a coffee brand, try to sell my coffee through there, with the hopes in the future we can introduce other producers to sell coffee and do other programs in the community. So this week's been an exciting week. We've been out in Oakland, California, and this is the presentation you've been watching. I got to meet a few of my viewers, and I got to talk to them and really share the story of what's going on back in origin. So without further ado, I introduce to you our first generation, our first bag for the Immense Coffee movement. So this is our coffee brand that we officially released online. So you can watch the videos, you can watch us build. Let me tell you, with this brand, we have a very big plans, and we use a lot of brands that already exist as inspiration. So we're out there watching them, and we admire what they've done, and we want to take this brand to the same levels, if not more, to try to help a little bit and put a drop in the bucket here through the whole coffee industry. Guys, we just finished the live event and it went amazing. Thank you for everyone that came out. I definitely appreciate it. It was our first time ever doing anything like this. And in the future, we want to continue to do this. Just a reminder that the website is now live, immensecoffeemovement.com. It's only the beginning. Eventually, we want to do a lot more, offer subscriptions, offer different farmers that need access to market. So go ahead and check it out. When you buy a cup of coffee, you're making the change. You see it in the videos. Thank you for watching, subscribing. I'll see you guys in the next video. Hasta luego, mi amigos.